if we're going to talk about connection, why is this on my mind? What do I mean by connection? Real, true, genuine connection with other people. Do you have a real, true, genuine connection with yourself? That's a good place to start, isn't it? If we're wanting to provide that with others or to reciprocate that feeling, we should probably be able to keep that up consistently with ourselves, give or take. Some days, we might not be on the ball as much. Some days we're not going to feel as good. So we're probably not going to be in a state of mind where we can have that same connection. Many people only experience this connection with their loved one. There's also many people who just don't experience this connection because what it requires of them is to completely remove their masks. True vulnerability is unfiltered and open and honest. You say what you think and what you feel around another person that you feel gives you the space for you to do that. Now, some people practice and they end up doing this unrelentingly. Typically, these are people that you might call authentic, or they feel more authentic to be around because they are unrelentingly themselves. Now, it doesn't mean that they're always open and vulnerable with everyone, but it means they're acting from a place of truth within them. They're not playing a hypothetical game where they're trying to think, what outcome could they get from being a certain way? They are just themselves because they know it aligns with how they feel. And then you enter this kind of flow state. You can achieve that sometimes if you've been for a run or when you're doing something creative. You're playing music that you really like and you're engaging in a sport and suddenly everything feels right. You're not thinking what you should do next. You're not thinking about the past. You're going with the flow of energy that you are. And it's only really an illusion when we lose sight of that and we begin to think of other things outside of that space. So when we're able to have this connection with ourselves, what does that mean? It means being able to sit with yourself. So sit with yourself in silence. It's become, again, this is much less common these days, which is a reason that I'm talking about this in the video, to find genuine connections with people, because there's so many more distractions, namely your phone, and then following that up, computers or gaming consoles. They give you a perfect constant distraction so you never feel bored. Now, what is boredom? I don't know, because I've not felt it since maybe I was 12 at school. And really, actually, boredom was, from my experience, a manifestation of wanting to do something else other than what I was doing. You should be able to sit with no distractions, with nothing going on, and relax and not feel bored. Feeling bored is almost like your body's defense against just letting go and being in the moment and relaxing and being vulnerable with yourself. Okay, now, being vulnerable with yourself means you're honest with how you think and how you feel. You don't deny parts of yourself. You're aware of them and you work on them. You work on what you want to engage in. If you have a feeling that you want to do something, but it doesn't align with who you want to be, you can be aware of it. You don't pretend it doesn't exist. You're aware that that part of you exists, but you choose not to engage in it. Media in general encourages this, where it's just all an illusion. Everyone thinks that everyone else buys into their illusion of who they're portraying to be. Now, a great example of this are people who come across as really cool. Like, they try and present themselves as really cool and cold. Maybe they're cold shoulder to people. They're always blunt. Maybe it's one of your friends and they never seem to be able to actually get a meaningful relationship with someone, or they always seem to push people away. The people who have the hardest outer shells are longing the most for a deep, genuine connection. And this is because they're scared. They have an innate fear that they aren't worthy of that, or they can't live up to that, or somehow it's not actually meant for them. So they create this barrier and they think other people perceive it as them being cool. So you end up with people that play along with the game, and then you end up with everyone who steps outside and just wants to be real, right, and wants to be genuine. So what would someone in that situation do is, if they wanted to find a real, genuine connection? Because when they're expressing this egoic shield, this protective shield, I'm too cool, I'm not going to open up, I'm not going to say things, you need to figure it all out, whatever it might be, what they're doing is they just attract people who play into that. So then they're going to attract people who are also having this mask and this persona in this game, and they're both longing for an actual connection with someone else yet denying it from themselves and from each other. Whereas the very difficult thing to do is sitting with yourself, facing whatever has caused you this. It's very likely this person had their heart broken in the past, or maybe multiple times, or they've grown up in an environment where they've seen that love isn't stable or it doesn't last or whatever it might be, and they haven't formed their own experience or accepted that they can have their own experience of love and their own experience of dating. You get to choose. This is the other thing. People don't realize, or they forget, that they're the one who can actually decide, I want to be someone who builds a relationship that lasts, and if someone doesn't align with that, that person wasn't for me anyway, right? It doesn't say anything about you. But that's not to say that people don't have work and growth and things to do themselves. If this person with the hard outer shell who truly desires connection, but is pushing it away, consciously, unconsciously often, really they want to reach out to someone and say, I've been really hurt. We all come back when it becomes about love. We all go back to being emotionally children, right? You want to be embraced, you want to be held, you want to be loved, and you want to be cared for. These are just built into us. It's normal, it's healthy, it's natural. And it's how you can have a space with someone that's closer than anything else you've had. And then when you learn to carry that love within you, you begin to see things for what they are. Now, love doesn't mean you go around falling at every whim. Love is the most powerful force because it also demands that you love yourself, right? If you want to have true love that you can give to others, you have to be giving that to yourself. What does that mean? It means you have strong boundaries. You only let certain people into your life and to have your full open vulnerability if it aligns with you, if you believe they're going to align with you and the things you want. If your loved ones are under attack, love can look like violence. If you were to defend the people you love, love can look like strength. Love can look like perseverance. If you're doing a long distance relationship, there's a preconception that the idea of people who say it's important to be loving, and loving yourself doesn't mean you look in the mirror and think you're amazing all the time. It's all these other components that actually make up loving yourself. And I said love can look like violence if you were to defend your family from something. It's because it's just typically not what people associate the idea of love to be, right? But it is. That would be an expression of your love. You're willing to put yourself in this situation where you could be physically hurt. I mean, you know, a classic line is saying like they'll die for the person they love. So it's a very powerful force, and it's important that we align it with ourselves. And then you can build with someone else who has hopefully aligned it within themselves, and you can try and create this beautiful thing together. Another issue that I see arising that's rampant at the moment is the social anxiety epidemic that is occurring. And this can be heavily blamed on social media and phones and screens and distractions, because you don't have to actually interact with people. Now, I had this client a couple of years ago, and they were telling me how their 17-year-old daughter had just got a new boyfriend, but they'd never spoken in person, yet they went to the same school and they texted each other and just said, do you want to be each other's boyfriend and girlfriend? But they'd never spoken in person. Now, things like this just concern me at the idea that this is becoming normal. That should be something that's unusual. It worries me because we're creating this false sense of being able to build a connection with someone. You almost don't have to put any investment. You don't have to put anything on the line if you're just going to send someone a message. This is the reason that dating apps are just generally considered to be rubbish, because you have all of these people on there who they actually want connection, right? That's just something that everyone wants, but they're fishing with no intent because there's no risk. So by messaging and putting themselves out there, they're not actually having to put themselves out there. You can just ghost someone, you can just delete someone, you can create this false identity that you want people to perceive you as in however many images, 4, 5 or 6 images, and procure this image of yourself. So many people have filters or they've got loads of makeup. It's this fake reality, but everyone wants genuine connection. And things like social media, sure, there are parts that help, but it's just driving us further away from real connection. So this goes hand in hand with the falseness, with the low risk nature. Before, if you wanted to date someone, you did not have a choice. It wasn't like you could figure a way around it and, you know, not interact with that person. You had to go up and talk to them. Now, in that moment, what happens? You might risk looking like a fool. You might risk showing all your flaws. You also risk creating a bond with someone that you didn't know and maybe building a relationship that lasts years and is a great thing for both of you. What happens when you become used to doing that? You stop caring, right? You stop worrying about the backlash. So maybe you go up to someone and they say, you look like an idiot. You don't have a choice, right? If you wanted to be in a relationship, you would have to consistently do that over time. So what did we used to have that's now becoming scarce and is extremely dangerous and damaging? And there's, one statistic is that the younger generation now is having the least sex ever in recorded history. Yet when you look online, you have these communities of young men who have decided that all women are valued by is their ability to have sex, and that there's no good women these days, or whatever they want to make up. Then you have all of these insecure women on the other side who are saying there's no good men, they're all cheat. Whatever it is, it's this projection again of hurt people. And the thing with social media is it encourages those communities to build, because that's what gives engagement. Think about it. How many people who are living the content lives, who are happy, are commenting and complaining and raging on these posts? From none. So you end up with these echo chambers of hurt people complaining and blaming their internal and placing their internal pain externally, as if it's going to do something, right? As if the only solution isn't for them to sit with their pain and to process it and to deal with it. That is the only solution. Population decline or population collapse is a massive risk. Birth rates are dropping more than ever across the globe. People just aren't building relationships with each other. There's this external weight on chasing career, chasing external things, creating someone that other people think you are in the world, not who you think you are, because that's what's priceless. How you interact with other people, the experiences you've been through, and how you've chosen to learn from those and grow is priceless. And that's who you are. And you carry that with you, no matter if you're living outdoors, no matter if you have a mansion, those things stay with you, okay? If you're someone who is completely immature, filled with guilt and shame, hasn't processed their trauma, and they have a mansion and they have a job where everyone thinks they're great, that person's still going to feel the internal trauma, the shame, the suffering. It doesn't matter. So then what is important? Is it important that they have a mansion? No, it's about your internal state. And we have all of this pressure on the external thing. People are pushing back the age where they want to stay in committed relationships and build from them. And they're pushing back the age they want to build families, because there's this sense given to us externally again that there's more important things to be doing. Now, it's not just kind of a hypothetical sense. There are bills to pay, there's rent to pay, house prices going up. There's all sorts of different factors to this, but I'm discussing it in the context of getting in the way of genuine connection. What happens when you put your value externally? You end up suffering because it's not yours. So whether that's on the job, whether it's on how you think people perceive you, whether it's on your money, your wealth, whatever it is, those things are not tangible. They will change, they will come, they will go, and you will suffer each time that changes and comes and goes. When you're trying to build a connection with someone else that's genuine and true, that comes from within you and that comes from within them. It doesn't come from a game between who you both are pretending to be. Loads of relationships are like that. Tons of them are like that. But then you're not having a genuine connection or relationship. You're playing a game with each other. It's the same social dance that you play if you go out with a group of friends that you aren't actually truly comfortable with, and you talk in a way because you want people to perceive you in a certain way. You're not acting from within you truly. Okay. So we're going through a crisis here. That's how it feels to me. It feels like we're going through a crisis of people being able to genuinely connect. And it doesn't seem to be getting better anytime soon because of how easy it is to distract yourself, because of how easy it is to have these outlets, how easy it is to blame others. You don't have to now put yourself out in the world and make yourself uncomfortable and grow for many years. People find it easier to just distract themselves and to go down these paths of short-term gratification and dopamine and then feel suffering and loop back, and it's, they're stuck in this vortex. Now, if we want to talk about how can we find a genuine connection with someone else, so like I said earlier, it's first about finding that with you. So learn to become comfortable with sitting with your life within your space without distractions and just seeing how you feel, letting your thoughts flow. Do some things that you enjoy doing. You don't have to always be distracted. You don't always have to have music on, but also do some jobs around the house and put your favorite music on and have a little dance. Think about what you want to do to treat yourself. Imagine yourself as someone you love and how you would treat them. If you feel tired and exhausted, what would you do? You'd probably care for that person and look after them. So do the same for yourself. And over time, you build up these different habits and different ways of being, and you can kind of feel that you're happy within yourself, you're stable within yourself, and your love comes from within. You're not loving to fill a gap, you're loving because you want to enhance your life, right? If you're chasing relationships, this is something that puts me off about the idea of dating. There's nothing wrong with it at all, but you know, people who say they're actively dating, for me personally, the reason that puts me off is I don't want to be in a state where I'm chasing something. Now, you could argue that someone who's dating isn't chasing something, they're opening the doors, and that's completely right. You can go out and start dating people and seeing how it goes without feeling like you're chasing it. But for me, I romanticize the idea of meeting someone naturally, or through friends, or through someone I know, or doing a mutual hobby. And part of that is not rushing the process. During that time before you meet that person, you're becoming more yourself and learning to build that stability and that love within yourself. It's more authentic, right? And then you want to align with someone, and you will notice someone who's on a similar wavelength to you. If you aren't operating from that place within yourself where you're loving stably and genuinely and openly, and being honest with yourself and ready for communication and the work that it takes, you're going to attract someone else who also isn't ready. So you're not going to be able to reach that genuine connection. You'll have it in moments because the walls come down and you'll be vulnerable and open, but it'll fade away again as the tides of life inevitably come to the shore and shake you up. The hard part with building a relationship where you have genuine connection, whether it's with a friend or a romantic partner, is that when life shakes you up, as it always will, staying true to it then. It's easy to do when you feel great. It's easy to do when everything's fine and smooth and there's no problems. But life will inevitably serve you many problems. And a genuine connection is being able to talk with someone through those situations and be open with what you want and what you feel, and while simultaneously being self-aware and knowing it comes from a place of truth within you. So I hope you enjoyed this conversation today. I very much did. I've got a different angle here, as you can see. And yeah, I've been unwell today. So yeah, I haven't been feeling particularly amazing for the past week, slightly run down. But I thought I'd just do a little video, and this has been on my mind recently. And yeah, let me know your thoughts. I would love to discuss. I always love hearing other people's thoughts and just genuinely connecting with others. So yeah, I'll catch you very soon. I wish you all the best.